Hello my friends and welcome to another episode of our Empyrion Galactic Survival Let's Play series. Episode number 13 today. So let's go ahead and get going. Our goals for today are to spruce up the small vessel, that's number 1. Number 2 is going to be to start planning for our capital vessel. And number 3, we're going to gather up our materials and the parts that we need for our capital vessel. So as you saw in the previous episode, we successfully managed to have Space Adventure number 2. We got some Sathium ore, we got some of that neodymium. So we're nicely stocked here for the things that we can get on that other icy rock planet. Not a whole lot that we can build with those things right now because we need the other missing materials, particularly the Erestrum and the Zascosium. I have trouble saying that one. So yeah, we're in a good spot here to start building our capital vessel because that's what's going to allow us to go into hyperdrive and essentially access other systems. So as you probably know, right now we're stuck in our own little solar system here. Well, I guess not really a solar system because there's no sun, but we're kind of confined right now to our own system that has the Earth-like planet of Akua, and maybe I could access that, I think here, yeah. And I'm pretty sure by process of elimination that the other one we were at was Ningus, or Ningus, however you say that, because that's the closest one here. So we can access those two, but to access the rest we will need a hyperdrive, and hyperdrives are only available, as far as I know, on capital vessels. So naturally that is the next step, is to start building our capital vessel. But before we do that, we will need to use our small vessel here to navigate from Akua to orbit, and to our capital vessel essentially. So since we're going to be using this thing a lot more, I know it's kind of hard to see because it's nighttime here. Should probably have my flashlight. But anyway, since we're going to be using our small vessel a lot more now, I figured it's a good time to spruce it up a little bit. And hopefully we'll be able to hold on to it at least for a couple of episodes. So, you know, I figured since we're going to be using it that much more, it might as well look nice. I've kind of explained everything I needed to explain, but there you go. There's our current ship. I've explained how to build this in the Let's Play series and also in my how to build a small vessel. So if you haven't had a chance, check out my EGS tutorials. I set up a playlist there that has all kinds of useful stuff. There's only a few videos right now, but as we discover things throughout the series here, I'm going to try and make more and more of those how-to videos. But there's what we have right now. Really basic ship, not much to it. Looks pretty oogly. But I'm going to take just a few minutes here to fix that up. And once I'm satisfied with the design, I'm not going to put too much work into it, but at least, you know, fill out some of these areas here and maybe add some armor. And once I'm happy with it, then I'll come back and show you what I got. Okay, so while I'm building myself some hull blocks here and some armor, I just want to show you what I'm adding to the ship. So I'm going to be adding an O2 station, a couple of oxygen tanks, a small ammo box, a refrigerator, a cargo box, and I almost forgot, I want to add some weapons here as well, just in case we run into drones or we need to take out any enemies, we'll be able to do so. As you'll recall, in one of our previous episodes we kind of got screwed a bit. Went to engage a drone and realized we had guns but we had no ammo, so that's not going to be a problem this time. I'll probably put, I don't think we can build the pulse laser or a railgun. Can we do a railgun? We might be able to do a railgun. But either one of these would really do the trick. Plasma cannon would be really, really cool, but we need power coils for that. Actually, it looks like we need power coils for all of this stuff, and I don't think we can make power coils. Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to be able to make those weapons. Which ones can we make here so we can decide which is the best? So we can make a Gatling gun. We can make rocket launcher. I guess that's it. So those are the only two weapons available to us, so I guess that makes it real easy for us on deciding. Looks like my blocks and armor are done. Just make sure that I don't have any more in here somewhere stored away. Need to organize my stuff. Okay, so I did have a few here. No more armor, it looks like. I think we lost that when our first ship exploded. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'm going to need for now. I'm going to start putting the pieces into place. I'll show you my design for setting this kind of stuff up, and we'll continue from there. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, I'm also putting a small constructor aboard the ship. Just in case we run into any trouble and we need to build something real quick, we'll have that option. And I'm also going to make some extra directional thrusters and throw those in the cargo box. Just in case we happen to have a thruster get blown out, we'll be able to land and put that back and hopefully save our hides. Okay, and we're back. I built myself a little work light here so we can illuminate the work area so you can clearly see what's going on, even though the sun's coming up soon. Didn't want to wait too much longer, so here we go with the build of or adding on to our small vessel, I should say. I'm going to start with the blocks. This is typically how I do it, but of course you're going to want to do this the way that you see fit. I'm probably going to end up taking away some parts here and having to rebuild them and put them back, but I'll generally do something like this, and I'll show you why here in just a moment. Okay, so something like this. Come on, get in there. Go to your home. There you go. So something like that. Put one there too. Same thing on the other side. And again here I could drag this and make a line of them. Whoops. But that's exactly why I don't do that, because it ends up doing stupid things like that. So better to just do them one at a time. Nice part is they've changed the remove repair tool so it's much faster now. It used to be hella slow. But it's much more efficient now and it's worth using. Okay, so now I have pretty much the base for my different appliances here. Let me think about this for a second. It's better to have this planned out properly than to redo it. So I'm going to do something like this, and I'm going to set up my guns now so that I can plan on where I want to put things around the guns, because that's pretty much, I mean, you could put your guns on the side. I always like to put mine in the front, but that's totally up to you. So I'm going to do something like this, and I'm going to move my light. Put a block in there like, come on, like so. And then I'm going to go rebuild my light, put that on, and we'll continue. Okay, so there we go. We got the light on, we got the weapons, we got our sides done, and I'm going to power it on just so that we can see what the finished product is going to look like. Yeah, that looks cool. It's not going to be a super fancy machine, but definitely we want to tweak it up a little bit, so that's a good start. Next, I'm going to start adding my appliances or what have you. So the bigger ones are the oxygen station. These are one block, that's one block, that's one block. That one's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to put these, the longer ones, I'm going to put those in the front-ish. Something like, I don't want it to cover that part, but maybe something like, get in there, something like that on the side. And then this doesn't really matter, but I try and use a side that looks good. It looks alright there. Something like that. The constructor, you can access it pretty much anywhere as long as you can get your cursor over it or your crosshair. and hit T, you can access it that way. So you can have this all covered up with armor or whatever you want to do. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but for our oxygen station. Gotta get used to how things are positioned here. I have a new keyboard and I'm still not used to where the keys go, so no matter what we do, it's going to be on the side. It's going to look kind of ugly, but whatever. As long as we can use it, I'm not really concerned about the looks a whole lot right now. So that's good. That's good there. The idea here, just so you know, is you're going to be able to access all this stuff from the top. And I think what I usually did last time is I had these down one. Pretty sure that's what I did. I had, instead of having these blocks here, I have these. The constructor would be where these blocks are right here. And then that way you can cover up the bottom and the sides with other blocks or with armor. But let's try this design here and we'll see how it goes. So as you can see, I've already found sort of a flaw in our design here. If I put the oxygen tanks in front of this thing, then we're not going to really be able to access it. I mean, I guess we could from the top. Yeah, let's leave it the way it is. Again, I'm not going to be too anal about this stuff here, but we definitely want, I don't know, I like to put my oxygen tanks close to the oxygen station, but I'm pretty sure you can put them anywhere. So I don't know, something like that. And then over here on this side, we're going to want the rest of this stuff. This is our ammo box. So it actually has one additional box here that I'm not used to working with. So I don't know, something like that. I guess I could have flipped that up so I know what it is, but it's fine. And lastly, we'll put our cargo box on the back. Like so. Did I cover up my fuel tank? No, I didn't. Okay, good. Good. That's one thing you want to make sure is you don't cover up your fuel tank like I was saying in one of the previous episodes, because then you won't be able to fill it up. So you want to make sure at least one of the sides, one of the surfaces is accessible. Okay, so we do have another spot here in case we want to add something else. I can't really think of anything right now, but if I want to add another cargo box or another fridge, I can put that there. So we'll just leave that empty for now. But what I am going to do is start filling out some of these blocks here, and I'm going to start covering things up and hopefully think of a nice way of rounding this all off. And I don't know, I'm going to take a look at the slanted blocks and the slope blocks and all that stuff and see what I can come up with, and I'm going to put it together and I'll come back to you and let you know what I did. Okay, and we're back, and as you can see here, I did fill out the sides and the front and back with some sloped hull blocks. I reinforced the top in areas where we don't need to access with some armor, and if we look underneath our ship, whoops, lift it up again here. We look under our ship, I repositioned the feet, aka landing gear, and I reinforced the bottom with some armor. Pretty much everywhere except for the landing gear spaces. You're not able to put anything there. Now, as I discussed previously, you can cover up your light with armor as well. However, this circular part on the light used to stick out and illuminate just as well as it does currently, but it looks like from some of the changes they've done, the armor actually now covers up the light. It might still shine through, but it looks awful, so I'm gonna leave that as is and take a chance. Hopefully we don't take any direct damage straight onto our light there, but essentially you're gonna want to just reinforce your ship. You want to reinforce the front, the back, the sides, the bottom, the top. Everywhere you can get in some armor or some hull blocks just to strengthen the integrity of your ship, you'll want to do that as well. And then I added some corner pyramid style blocks here for the corners just to give it that look and contour, but it is still pretty boxy, so I guess you could say this design is kind of minimalistic. It's still boxy looking, but it'll do the trick. And again, the idea is just to protect some of your appliances and things that you don't want to be blown up from a direct hit from a drone, for example. But anyway, there's our small vessel. I'm not going to put too much more work into it than that, just in case it does end up getting blown up. We'll have wasted our time. So don't put too much thought into your ship unless you're absolutely sure that it's going to survive for a long time. So that being said, let's go ahead and check that off the list and then move over to our capital vessel. Now, while I was looking things over earlier, I noticed that we're actually going to need some of the sathium and neodymium, those ingots. We're actually going to need those for a lot of the parts on our capital vessel, which makes sense, right? You'll want to go to that first other planet to gather up those materials in order to make your capital vessel, to in turn visit other systems. So it all kind of falls into place. As you can see here, we're missing advanced CPUs, which I'm pretty sure we can make those. Let me just double check. Yeah, we can make those. So you need neodymium and silicon to make those, and then the flux coils we can also make with sathium and silicon. And whoops, didn't mean to do that. To cancel something, by the way, you need to stop your machine first and then click on it, or shift click to cancel out the item, in case you're wondering. Okay, so as with our small vessel, we're going to want to build the parts that we're going to need first, and then we're going to fly out to space and put it all together. I don't think we're going to build the actual small vessel in this episode. This is more of a preparation episode. But yeah, let me go ahead and start building my pieces, and then we'll review all the stuff that we have ready, anything that we're missing, and then we'll start planning for our capital vessel episode. Okay, so as I'm building stuff for my capital vessel here, I noticed that it's been a long time since we covered the tech tree. I have since reached level 20, which is real easy to do when you get constantly chased by plant monsters. And as you saw in episode, I believe it was episode 11, where I went to town on all those enemy bases, that allowed me to rack up a whole bunch of experience and then essentially cap out at level 20. I think in a previous episode I mentioned how the cap was level 25. That's actually not the case. I apologize for that mistake, but it's actually level 20. But as you can see, one thing I mentioned is that you're going to have a bunch of leftover points, and this is indeed the case. 663 extra points that we can't really do anything with. I've unlocked everything so far, even the hover vessel stuff. I don't plan on building a hover vessel anytime soon, but with this excessive amount of points, there's really no reason not to unlock everything. So as you can see here, all my capital vessel schematics and designs, or whatever you want to call them, everything's unlocked here. So just wanted to cover that. There was an interesting thing I wanted to mention here as well. What was it? Oh yes, they've added these new windows. So if you already had level 20, you may want to go back into your tech tree and add these as well. It doesn't cost points. There's 0 here, but these are new windows, and you need to unlock them in order to start using them. But these are basically transparent windows that, yeah, it looks like they're both transparent from both sides, so they're, I guess, two-way windows. But they don't have the shaders, or whatever you call these things, the shutters. Yeah, it doesn't have the shutters on them. So this is just like a clear window, which is kind of nice. Actually, that might be something we'll use for our capital vessel here. But again, I'm just showing you how everything is unlocked here. Hover vessels fully unlocked, tools fully unlocked, and of course weapons. So now we have the laser rifle and the rocket launcher tier 2. And for the capital vessel, I do have some things made. I was able to make an RCS so far, and made a bunch of coils, but looks like I'm missing something in order to continue here. Okay, looks like I'll need some more advanced CPUs. But basically I'm gonna design this the same way as I designed. Oh, looks like there's some new landing gear as well. Interesting. We should try those out and see. Yeah, maybe I'll do that on the small vessel as well. I'm gonna build some of these new landing gears. I'm gonna put those on instead of these old familiar ones. I don't know if there's any advantage really to having those. Looks like they're heavier, but they have the same amount of armor, so I'm not sure why you'd want to put those on there. Yeah, I'm not sure. The only difference I can see here is the placement. It says fly directional bottom. Guessing that means you need to put them on the bottom. These might be, looks like the dimensions are different. They're 4 deep, so maybe you only need 2 of these, like 1 on each side, and it's the equivalent of having 4 of the basic legs, feet here. So maybe I'll try that, or perhaps we'll make 4 of these and put those in each corner instead of conventional ones. The advantage, I guess, of the Tier 2 heavy landing gear is that they are heavier, but if you only need 2 of them, that would be about 100 kilograms lighter than having 4 of these, so that might be the advantage there, actually. But otherwise, they have the same energy consumption, same armor, same hit points. They're just bigger. So those are the things I'm going to be doing here, and maybe this is a good place to stop. We started planning a little bit for our capital vessel. We put some final touches on our small vessel, and between episodes here I'm going to add the landing gear to my small vessel, and I'm going to continue building. There's an interesting thing to note, is that there's landing gear, which I didn't notice at first. There's landing gear for the capital vessel, so it looks like you can take your capital vessel to a world now, to a planet. That's kind of cool, because we'll be able to build our capital vessel on the ground here instead of having to build it in space like you normally have to do. Very cool. Anyway, all things to cover on our next episode. I'm also going to try and do a how-to video tutorial on building a capital vessel, so stay tuned for that. And otherwise, I just want to thank you again for joining me. I hope you're enjoying this series as much as I am playing it, and we'll see you on the next one for episode 14. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.